This is the Sinner review for the S-Rank Fury Truck-kun. Sorry, Murphy. As usual, conclusions first. Murphy is an Emperor and Mobber for true damage teams. So if you don't play Augustus or RF Coco, you can skip Murphy safely. But if you do play them, then I recommend pulling Murphy. If you decide to pull her, S0 is complete and S1 is really fun and gives you Truck-kuns, but it's not a must. You'll see what I mean. But first, let's discuss her kit. Murphy's basic attack has her swing her purse to hit an enemy, dealing a bit of true damage. She is melee range, which is important because her characteristic is that each time her basic attack deals damage, Murphy obtains a stack of bad luck. She can get up to 8 stacks, and the first stack lasts 128 seconds. Each stack after lasts only half the duration, so it ends up being 1, 128, 2, 64, 3, 32, 4, 16, 5, 8, 6, 4, 7, 2, 8, 1. So you do have a bit of a positional requirement on her to always be hitting something to maintain 7 or 8 stacks. Now, why do you want 7 or 8 stacks? Because it's used as a part of her ult. Her ult costs 24 energy, and when she has any amount of bad luck stacks, Murphy can use her ult. Based on how many stacks she has, she triggers certain effects. If she has 1 stack, she triggers a lightning strike that hits a random enemy for some true damage and roots them for 1 second. If she has more than 1 stack of bad luck, it triggers more hits, up to 3 lightning strikes total. If you have 4 stacks, a black cat will appear and randomly hit an enemy in front of it in like a T shape, also slowing them for up to 30% for 5 seconds. Like the lightning, the more stacks you have, the more strikes the cat will do, also up to 3 hits. Finally, if you have 7 stacks, a fire is created in a plus shape dealing damage. This prioritizes the enemy with the highest max HP. If you have 8 stacks, this fire will hit, then explode into 5 mini fires on each tile and deal another round of damage. By the way, all effects that hit the required stack number will trigger. So if you have, say, 4 stacks, both the black cat and the lightning strikes will trigger, not just the black cat. So if you have 8 stacks, the lightning, black cat and fire will all trigger with all their bonus hits. So this is why you ideally want to keep Murphy at 7 or 8 stacks, but allowing her to constantly hit basic attacks. Whew, a lot of words. Fortunately, Murphy's P1 is simple. After her ult deals damage, that enemy will take up to 40% more normal attack damage for 12 seconds, synergizing well with herself, Augustus, and Coco, since all their damage is normal attack damage. Murphy's P2 is some bonus damage whenever she has stacks of bad luck and deals true damage to an enemy. The damage coefficient doubles for each stack of bad luck you have. It's a little pop of extra damage up to 6 times per second. Since at level 10, we know the starting percentage is 0.6, if you double it 8 times for 8 stacks, it comes out to be 76.8% per trigger 6 times, so it's 460.8% per second total. This matters for later, so hang on. Murphy's ECB has a 30-second cooldown after each use, and it can be used up to 3 times per battle. So in long fights, you'd use it during core breaks, and in short fights, you probably save it for whenever you core break the boss or need to down a stubborn elite monster or something. Use her ECB to choose an allied sinner for the accident mark. This buffs the selected sinner, depending on ECB level, for 20, 25 or 30% attack and 30, 40, 50% true damage dealt for 16 seconds. If the sinner who gets the accident mark isn't Murphy herself, yes, you can choose to buff herself, Murphy's P2, that extra damage whenever true damage is dealt, also starts counting from the accident mark sinner. Additionally, that damage is calculated as being from the accident mark sinner. So let's say in a fight, Murphy has no buffs on her as an Amper, you give the ECB to Coco. During the ECB, the P2 damage bonus is calculated using Coco, including all the buffs on her, so it does big damage. Earlier we figured out that if you trigger the 6 hits per second, you get 460.8% bonus true damage dealt per second. And let me tell you, RF Coco can really get those 6 hits and more easily. This might seem like a small percentage when you compare it to other DPSs, but remember, true damage isn't deducted by enemy defenses, so it's actually huge. If we compare to Augustus, her ult per second only deals around like 1,500%, so just Murphy's P2 being added on is an instant 30% damage increase, and this isn't counting the attack and true damage dealt buffs from the ECB. This is why if you play a lot of Augustus or plan to play a lot of RF Coco, I definitely recommend at least pulling S0 Murphy just for that ECB buff. Small side note, after using her ECB, Murphy's bad luck stacks won't reduce for the next 16 seconds, so P2 can be easily calculated at 8 stacks all the way. Anyway, moving on to Shackles. S0 again is complete as an Amper. S1 makes it so if bad luck stacks are full, so 8 stacks, Murphy will summon several Truckguns to isekai your enemies to their next life. Yeah, it's really like this. This isn't an edit, I'm not making this up. The Truckguns hit everything on the screen, doing pretty decent damage actually, and by spamming the heck out of this, you can essentially just spam everyone's ults on S1 Murphy and clear Dark Zone. If you bring a double DPS setup with Coco, since Coco's ECB will be triggered by this, each time you spam Murphy ults, you also get a burst of healing, so your team also can't die, and it works on all 3 maps. It's very funny. So from me to you, on a personal perspective of fun, not meta, I say go for S1 if you can, because it's just really silly and it gives serotonin. Look at that, it's great. Murphy's S2 and S5 grant a bit of attack speed, but it's not really necessary, so don't worry about it. S3 makes her basic attacks a gacha, where she has a 1% chance to trigger Truckguns on each hit. If she doesn't trigger a hit on that basic attack, the next one will have the chance to double. So it goes like first hit 1%, 2%, 4%, 8%, 16, 32, 64, and then if you hit 8 basic attacks without triggering, that guarantees a Truckgun because it goes over 100%. This one doesn't actually contribute a lot of damage, so it's quite optional. Overall, Murphy's a great addition to a true damage team, and I highly recommend her for that purpose. She struggles to shine outside of that, so pull according to your own preferences on the teams that you play. That's all for this one. Next patch will be pretty crazy because we're scheduled to get Isomer, Celine, and also the Reforgers for Raven, Ovo, Irene, and Coco, all of whom have had an effect on meta tactics, so I'll be busy working on 6 in her reviews. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!